Hello sweet friends, welcome to my channel. Today I have put together 18 of my favorite Valentine DIYs for you. In the description box is timestamps if you would like to see certain videos that I have done. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get started and let me share my favorite DIYs. For project number 1, I am sharing how I did a sweet tin heart on Shiplap. For the heart, I'm using one of these tinsel hearts from the Dollar Tree, and I just removed the love, and then I just took my scissors and I cut off all of the red tinsel for the entire heart. And I just want to just give you a little note. Just make sure that you just cut the tinsel and don't cut the frame because it is plastic. Because yes, guess what? I did. I cut the frame and then I was so bummed, but thank goodness I always buy 2 of everything. And so I had this one so I could finish this project. But anyway, this is how the frame comes out, and it has those little nubs around it. So I don't need those. So I just took my wire cutters and I just cut them off all the way around. There's a little extra part, and I just took my little box blade and I just cut that little plastic part off, being careful not to cut the actual frame because like I said, it is plastic and it will break very easy. Anyway, so then I just took my ink colored chalk paint and I just painted the whole frame. I just did one coat. I just tried to get all the way around, painted the top, and then I let that dry, and then I painted the underside as well because there were some places that I could still see a little red, and so I wanted to make sure that I didn't see any red. Now, what I'm using is just a sign from the Dollar Tree. This happens to be an old Christmas sign. And so the signs from the Dollar Tree have paper on them. So I'm using 2 of these signs, and I was very fortunate to get the paper off of one of them pretty easily. But the second one, not so much. So, you know, you wouldn't even need to take all of this off, but because these signs had those little belts on them, like for the Santa, it actually was a little raised. And so I wanted to get off as much of the paper as I could. Then to glue them together, I just took some craft sticks and glued them together. Then I'm going to give both sides, the back and the front, 2 coats of this white Waverly chalk paint. Now, this was not my original idea. I was inspired by the crafty couple. I will have their video linked below in the description box so that if you haven't seen it yet, you can check it out because this project turned out so super cute and I was really inspired. Then I took my ruler and a pencil and I just marked out where I thought, you know, it would look, I want my board to look like shiplap. So I'm just kind of following where maybe a bit of the indentation would go. And I just did some pencil drawings. Then I'm using my Waverly chalk paint in mineral, and then I'm going to go back over it with a thin brush and just kind of distress it a little bit to make it look like faux wood. Then I took a stencil brush and or a chippy brush, and I just go around the edges of the board where it kind of looks like distressed wood. I got it a little heavy in some areas, but I just kind of worked with it and just kind of it's really okay. But you know, you can always, if you get too much, you can wipe it off like with the baby wipe, or you can just put more paint over it and just blend it in. I just hot glued it to the board and it sticks really well. I embellished it with a gray and white buffalo check ribbon that I made that I didn't use. It was on another project. I just made a 2-loop bow and ended up not using it. And so it's perfect for this little heart. I just hot glued it there in the middle, and I added a flower to it, and I just think it looks so sweet. This heart topiary is a cute little shelf sitter. So I'm using 2 plastic candy canes from the Dollar Tree and some homespun fabric I just ripped in 1-inch pieces just to help cover around the candy cane. I'll cover both of them individually. Then once I get finished covering them, I will butt them up together, hot glue them at the top and at the bottom, hold them for a second so that they, hold together. And then I'm going to make my little stand for it. And I'm using a metal bucket from the Dollar Tree, and it's already white, so I don't have to paint it or anything. And just to give it some weight, I'm just using some glass beads that I glue in there with this tacky glue. And then I'll use a small styrofoam ball, also from the Dollar Tree. And to get my heart to stand up in this bucket, I just use a small wooden stick and hot glue that, stick that in the styrofoam ball. And then to, decorate for my quote unquote topiary, I just have this greenery, and I think I got this greenery from Walmart. And so I am just snipping off some of it here. It comes in a longer strand, and I didn't need the long, bushes or the long little things to come out. So I am just hot gluing those into the ball, and I'm using my paper piercer to help get a hole so that I can hot glue all of this greenery in the ball. For a bow, I'm using this jewelry cording, or also known as hemp cording, and I just make some loops and tie it into a bow. Then that is what is going to be put in the center of my heart topiary. I'm just hot gluing that in the center there. And then I have a felt flower that I got from Dollar General. I was trying to decide if I wanted a button or if I wanted the heart rose, and it looks so pretty, I think. Now, using one of these chalkboard labels from Dollar Tree, I am just hand painting Be Mine on there. And that is what is going to be the cute little sentiment for my heart topiary. Then adding a few of the sprigs of these white berries that I picked up at Walmart makes this little topiary complete. I just love the way that it turned out, and it is just so sweet for Valentine's Day. I love these faux books, just using small wooden planks. This particular pack came from Hobby Lobby, and I just gave each of them 2 coats of white chalk paint, but acrylic would work as well. I used my ultrafine Sharpie marker, and I just wrote on the spines of the books, and just hand lettered that using my happy dots, what I like to do. I also drew some red hearts. I've done some of these for several seasons, just, whatever the season is drawing on. And to give it a bit of distressing, I'm using my Vintage Photo Distress ink and my ultrafine Sharpie marker just to enhance it a bit more. Then to decorate it, what I'm using is this black and white buffalo check ribbon from Hobby Lobby, and I just wrap it around the books, and then I'm going to decorate the top with some lamb's ear greenery and some more florals. Okay, here is my Valentine frame pocket using a 4x6 photo frame from the Dollar Tree. Now, I really wish I would have used a 5x7 or an 8x10 would look good as well. But once I got everything on here, it kind of covered up my scrapbook paper and I didn't like that, but I just went with it. Anyway, I just distressed around the edges of the frame just to, kind of break up that brown. And then I have a piece of black and white scrapbook paper. I just, to know how big I needed to cut it, I just traced the back of what's inside of the photo frame so that I would, have a guide. And then I just used my adhesive tape gun just to adhere the scrapbook paper to the back for the photo frame. And that worked out really good. So then now I just inserted that into the photo frame, and then now for my pocket, what I'm using is a small paper bag that I have had on hand. I think I got these in the scrapbook section at the craft store. I had them on hand for a couple of years, and so then to make my pocket, I am just cutting it open so that I can get it to bend down. And then that is what I'm using for the actual pocket of my frame. So then just to decorate it, I'm just using different hearts and just different things from the Dollar Tree. And so that's why I said once I got my pocket on there, it kind of covered up my frame and my scrapbook paper. So that's why I wish I would have used a larger size frame. To make a bow, I'm using that same buffalo check ribbon from Hobby Lobby. I just make a 2-loop bow, and I am using my tiny attacher, my little stapler, one of my favorite crafting tools. Y'all have seen me use that many times. And now I'm showing you, I am using some glittery stems that I got from Dollar Tree during Halloween time rather. And those are just the perfect embellishment for this heart pocket frame. So like I said, I wish I would have used a larger size frame, but I didn't know until after I got this project done. But in all, it looks so cute on my shelf. I love to decorate with little wooden trucks that the dollar stores have. Now, this particular truck is from Dollar General, and I just am painting it up white and black to go along with this theme of my red and black that I was doing for Valentine's Day. And so then I just, paint the truck. I paint the wheels as well as the hearts. One of the hearts, I use this black and white scrapbook paper. I just draw that out and then cut it, and then I just Mod Podge that on to the truck or glue it onto the truck so that it all is all nice and cute. And I'm just embellishing the truck here as far as giving some shading and some dimension and depth just to bring it out and bring the whole little project to life. For the stand, I will also use some of that same scrapbook paper, Mod Podge that on there as well. Then for the sign of the truck, I'm just using another one of those chalkboard little stakes from the Dollar Tree, and I just take that off the stick. I hand lettered Cupid to go on this little chalkboard sign, and then that is what I'm going to put on the side of my truck to make it all nice and cute. So I'm using some metallic silver. That's my favorite color to use when I am just trying to embellish and give it my trucks, a more realistic look for the bumper and the headlights and maybe around the hubcaps. And so then my black Sharpie marker is my favorite best friend for bringing everything out, like bringing just the details out. So then these glittery heart stickers from the Dollar Tree are the finishing touch for my little hubcaps. And then I glued my sign there. I have this small little pom-pom ribbon that I got from Walmart and just hot glued that on the truck, and it completes it. I just think it just really adds what I was looking for, what I was going for in this whole entire project. For this Valentine decoration, I'm making a Valentine tree, and I'm using a cone, a styrofoam cone that I found at Walmart on clearance for $2.50. And to mask some of the green, I'm using this pink. It was the only color of pink that I had on hand at the time, and I think it's chalk paint, but it worked. Anyway, I just gave it a layer of that just to, cover up the green, and it worked great. So then these scarves are from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to attach it to my styrofoam cone just by pinning it and hot gluing it in places. Now, using the straight pins that had the white head on it worked great because it just kind of all blends in with this Valentine tree, and it just it turned out really cute because even if you see the pins, it looks like it's part of the decoration because they look like little white dots. So I'll just continue to wrap and twist and tuck the scarf around this cone so that it looks really cute. And I ended up using 2 full scarves, and I just pinned it and tucked it along the way. Now, to give it a bit more embellishment, I'm using these glittery styrofoam balls, also from the Dollar Tree, and I cut them in half so that one of the sides would have a flat surface, a flat edge. And so then I am just hot gluing those on my tree just to give them a sense of faux balls, and I think that it turned out really cute. For the top of my tree, I'm using one of these glittery heart styrofoam hearts from Dollar General, and I just stuck that into the top of my tree. The rope lights are also from Dollar Tree, and I just wrapped them around the Valentine tree just to give it a lighted effect, and I think it just turned out so cute. For this project, I'm using these items. This glittery tinsel heart is from the Dollar Tree, and the fur I got at Hobby Lobby on sale. And so then I am just cutting off strips of the fur and just wrapping it around the heart. I didn't even take off the tinsel or anything like that. I just wrapped it around, just hot gluing it. I didn't want it to be curved. I wanted it to be straight on. So that's why I did the fur this way. This wooden heart is from Dollar Tree. The scrapbook paper is from Hobby Lobby. I just painted around the edges of the wooden heart, and then now I'm going to trace out my heart on the scrapbook paper, and I did it on the front because I wanted this exact pattern of black and white stripes. So usually I trace on the back, but if I have a specific pattern, then I'll trace on the front. Anyway, I'm just Mod Podging this scrapbook paper on the on the heart, and just drying that really well before I put a second coat. That is a tip that a viewer shared with me. If you let your bottom layer completely dry before you put your top layer on, then you won't have the bubbles. And I appreciate viewers like you passing those tips along with me. Anyway, so I have one of these love blocks also from the Dollar Tree. I just painted the edges and the back black, and then I'm using some glittery scrapbook paper that I've had for a couple of years, and I am just tracing that out, and then I will adhere that to the front of this love sign. I needed something for my fur heart to stick to or hold on to, so I have this tag from the Dollar Tree. I just sanded off the glitter, gave it a coat of chalk paint, and then now I'm going to make a swag for the top of my tag sign. So I'm just using some different greenery, some lamb's ears, some berries, some flowers, some puffy hearts, some pip berries. So, just all kind of different textures. I will secure everything with some zip ties and attach it to the top of my sign. And I'm going to just hot glue the furry heart on there. If it's somewhere that, hot glue won't hold, then I would do E6000 or some sort of, glue that would adhere a little bit better than some hot glue. So then now for a bow, I'm just using different ribbons that I have on hand, and most of them either came from Craft Outlet, Sam's, or Hobby Lobby. And then I'm just doing 2 loops using my little stapler there to help myself with holding everything together. That pink and lace ribbon came from the 99-cent store, and so I just make a messy little bow here just by layering different textures of ribbon on top of each other, and then I will secure everything with a pipe cleaner, because I like to use pipe cleaners for my bows because I can get them a little bit tighter. It makes the ribbons pop and just look so pretty. So then now I'm just threading this through on my swag so that the ribbon bow it just looks really pretty here right on the top with all of these different colors. These next 2 projects are using these frames from the Dollar Tree. I am just going to add some scrapbook paper and make a cute little frame for this one. Is for a picture of me and my husband, and I'm going to do a play on words with these Scrabble tiles, or these wood tiles that this pack I picked up from Walmart. And I just added some lace to this frame just to soften it up a bit, and the lace came from Hobby Lobby. I just glued that on there. And then I just spelled out "You're Still the One" because one of me and my husband's favorite songs is "You're Still the One" by Shania Twain. And so that's kind of like, our little song. So that is what this little picture frame means to me. And so then I'll just, I was just trying to play around to see how they would kind of fit there. And so then once I got the placement that I wanted, I was good to go. Now I just have some different scraps of ribbons and different embellishment, just different textures. And I'm just crisscrossing them, just making a messy bow, refab bow, junk bow, whatever, anyone chooses to call it. I use a pipe cleaner to secure it, and then, just fluff everything out and trim off the tails how I want to. Then that is what I glue in the corner of the photo frame. And then I'm using these glittery balls from Dollar Tree, and they're styrofoam, so I just cut them in half and then hot glue them to the other 3 corners. These little felt flowers are something that I made a long time ago, and so I had them in my stash, so I thought that they look really cute on this photo frame. Here's the second project using one of these frames, just using some pink and white scrapbook paper. I just adhere that, to the back of the frame. And, that works out really good because, it just takes out the guesswork of the measurements. Just using my adhesive tape just to attach it to the back. It holds nice and, doesn't come apart. Then I'm just tying some jute on just around it, just to give it, this frame had where you could, it had the little clothespins on it, so I wanted to put those clothespins back on there. This large rickrack I think I got at Hobby Lobby, and so I just, glued that to the frame and then just put that back in there. Then to embellish one corner, I just have one of these ranunculus flowers. And then here's the picture of my boys. This sweet little frame needed a sweet little picture. For this project, I'm using this DIY wooden truck, and it is from Dollar General. It comes in 2 pieces with the wooden truck and the stand, but I am just using the wooden truck. And to give me a pattern for my wheels, I'm just using a clear punch cup that was the size of the wheels that I want, and then I am just giving it 2 coats of black paint. Then I'm going to paint the whole truck with Spa Blue. This is all acrylic paint that I'm using here now, and I'll give that 2 coats of Spa Blue. And then for one of the hearts, I am going to use Royal Fuchsia. Actually, the small heart, I'm just using Royal Fuchsia, giving it a coat of that. Then for the larger heart, I am going to use Baby pink. I'm just giving you the colors. You can, if you like these colors, just whatever brand of paint you want, but that's the colors that I used. And then now I'm going back and shading with Desert Turquoise, and I'm just using my flat paintbrush. I dip half of my brush in paint, the other half in water, and then I blend on a paper towel, and then I go around the edges just to give it just some definition. Then I have this pouncer brush and or sponge, and I'm just using some white paint, and I am just going to pounce it on there to give it the white wall of the tires. And then I'll go back and I will use the end of my paintbrush and add some dots and just some squiggles, and just by adding different little characters to my truck just really brings it to life. For my sign, I have this wood slat as well as a little rectangle that has rounded edges, and I just gave each of them a coat of white paint. And then now I'm just shading around them just to, just add some definition and kind of bring this whole little thing to life. So then on the small rectangle, I just write Love Express and do my happy dots with my black Sharpie marker. And then for the larger sign, I am just giving it a background of some pink stripes, that royal fuchsia pink paint. I'm just, kind of breaking up that background. And then I'll hand letter with my flat paintbrush. I'm just hand lettering Be Mine. This is some talent that I've, some God-given talent, and I'm very honored and excited to share my style of painting with so many. And thank you for your sweet and kind comments, but all of the glory goes to the Lord above, because He allows me to share this here with you all so much. And so then now to bring my truck even more to life, guys, this is what I like to do. I just like to doodle and just, really bring everything to life. And a black Sharpie marker is my best friend. I just love it so much. It just really brings everything to life. And so then I was using the end of my paintbrush just to, add some more dots. Then I have some puffy white paint that I do some squiggles on the hearts. These right here are little hubcaps that I painted silver, that metallic silver. Then now I am just splatter painting the whole thing, the truck and the sign. And so then I do paint some wood beads, but since this project, I've done this, I have learned an easier way to get my beads colored. There's a lot of different ways of doing it, but now I just put some paint and water it down a little bit, and then just stick my beads in there, and then, in the water, and then color them and let them dry, and that works so much better. Anyway, so then now I'm just putting the hubcaps, I just glued those onto the truck, and then now it's time to work on my sign. So I have this screen from the Dollar Tree. It is just in the kitchen section, and I probably did this the hard way. I probably would just use spray paint, but it was cold that day and I wasn't going outside, and so I just used my Waverly pink chalk paint, and it turned out exactly the way that I wanted it. I wanted my screen to look splotchy. Okay, so then now I just have all of these different greeneries and flowers, probably from the Dollar Tree or Walmart. Yeah, probably, because anyway, those pit berries came from Hobby Lobby. That is on a strand, and I know I just take all of that apart. And then now I'm just going to make a small bouquet. Just put them all together because that is going to be the floral accent for my cute little Valentine sign. Now I am just putting everything together on my screen. I had already attached all of the beads to my screen, and just with some wire. I just, strung them on the wire. And then now I'm just going to include my bouquet just with some zip ties to my screen. And then I will also do to attach my truck and my sign to the screen. I just do that with wire. For the bow, I'm just using different ribbons that I've had in my stash. And so then I'm just taking this ribbon right here and making a 2-loop bow. That check ribbon came from Hobby Lobby. The pink burlap is probably from Dollar Tree, as well as the turquoise burlap. The pink stripe probably came from Craft Outlet, and then the multicolored pink and green, like the lime green and the turquoise, yes, that came from craftoutlet.com. And so then now I'm just using some wire just to attach the truck to the screen. And the holes in that truck, actually I'm using all of that, putting it to use, because I'm just threading my wire through the screen and then to the truck. And I don't care if my wire shows, only because it just kind of attaches. And so I just use those holes to my advantage. Sometimes I will curl up the wire and make it look cute. And it just really all ties the whole little project together. Actually, what I did to attach the sign, I just hot glued it to the screen. And, because the screen, is, you can see through it, it's wire, it's green. I just cut some felt and just included that on the back of the sign so that it would, stick to the glue and everything would be in its place. So then now I'm just trimming up the tails of my bow, and this little project is complete, and I love the way that it turned out, and I hope you did too. Decor. I'm starting with one of these flowers and garden tins from the Dollar Tree, and I gave it 2 coats of chalk paint in the color plaster. And then once that was dry, then I just took a stencil brush and I just used some mineral chalk paint to give it a distressed look. I want to make 2 of the pink hearts, so I'm going to need 2 packages of these felt hearts from the Dollar Tree. Inside the package, there are 3 red hearts, 3 pink, and 2 white. And because I wanted to use or make 2 pink pillows or pink little hearts, I needed to use 2 packages, which I only used 1 pink out of that, but I have the other colors for another project. To make my hearts, I'm just hot gluing them closed, and I make like little pillows out of them. And to make the little pillow, I just hot glued like 3/4 of it, and then I'm using some filler, some stuffing that I get in a package in the fabric section at the store, but an old pillow would work, or something out of an old stuffed animal, something like that. I'm using a dowel just to help stuff it in there so that I can get an even pillow. Now I am doing the same thing with my white little heart. Then to embellish them, what I'm going to do is just use different trims, just some pom-pom trim and some pearls, and just kind of go around hot gluing the trims around the hearts just to make them really sweet. to decorate or embellish my white heart, I'm going to use this glittery vase filler that is also from the Dollar Tree. It has red, pink, and white little glittery styrofoam balls. And I just took out the 3 sizes of the balls, pink, from this bag, and I just used my serrated knife. I keep one of these in my craft room just to use for projects like this. I just cut them in half. They were very easy to cut apart. And then now I'm just going to hot glue them around the heart in the pattern that I want. Just basically the largest, then the next size, and then the smaller one. And I just keep going around and gluing them onto the heart. I'm using these wooden sticks I just painted pink, and that is what I'm going to use to glue to my little pillow hearts to stick in my arrangement. So these glittery hearts I got from Dollar General, and to soften them a bit, I just added a layer of chalk paint and then added some lace ribbon to the ends of the, underneath them. And so then now I'm just going to start working on my arrangement. I just have some styrofoam. I just hot glued that into my can, and just adding a bit of whimsy with my Excelsior. And then these ranunculus flowers are from Walmart, and I am just arranging my pillow hearts the way that I want them, adding my little ranunculus flowers and then some white berries. And this sweet little arrangement is complete. This Valentine Love door hanger is using some of this canvas cloth that I picked up from the fabric store. I made my own pattern, and I cut out a heart out of the canvas, 2 pieces. I painted Santa red, and then I'm using these 2 around the edges, the ivory and black. And this was the glue that I used for this particular project. It was called an art glitter glue. It was very strong holding. Since then, I have discovered other glues that I am using now. So what I'm doing is, for the edges, I just took my black paint and my small brush, and I just actually what I'm doing is doing some splatter paint. And so I did that. I have to think about what I was doing because, I have been crafting for many years, and I have lots of projects that I'm sharing with you. Okay, what I did here is I designed this on my Cricut. I cut it out of vinyl, and because I can paint, hand letter, but with block letters, but I wanted something more script. So I used my Cricut, and I just cut this out, and then now I just put it over, just put the love letters on this door hanger. I'm sure that, there are lots of different types of lettering on the available now. So for my door hanger, I just I made it kind of like a pillow. So I just put some just some stuffing in there that I get from the fabric store, but an old pillow or old stuffed animal or something like that would work as well. And then I just secured it with that art glitter glue, and just to close it around once I got my door hanger stuffed. So then now for the holes, I'm just using my crocodile and using the small hole of the crocodile. I just punch little holes in there, and then these white wires are just from the fabric store, and I got them, like in the fabric section where they have the wire, in the floral section, and which is usually by the fabric section. Anyway, so I just made a door hanger, or actually a hanger for this heart, just using one of those white wires. And so then I just used some deco mesh, just cut off strips of that in different colors to make a bow. And this little Valentine project is complete. For this little shelf sitter decor piece, I'm using one of these from the Dollar Tree, of course, and it already has the black and white pattern paper on there, but if this is a look that you like, you could always use scrapbook paper. And the heart is a wooden heart also from the Dollar Tree. I just hand painted that with some crimson chalk paint from Walmart. I'm using my sanding sponge to sand around the edges to expose a bit of the wood. Then that's what I'll glue onto the block, and I like that it gives it a little shadow box, little 3D effect. And for the bow, I just use this ribbon from Hobby Lobby. I use my lighter to singe the edges, just to kind of, keep it from fraying. And then for the little love letters, actually came from Dollar Tree as well. They come in a little 3-pack, and it just is a nice, cute little decor for a little shelf, or just somewhere that you want to put just a little extra something. This is another design for the love block from the Dollar Tree. I just paint the sides and the back with black paint, and then I'm going to cut out some black and white scrapbook paper, because when I was doing this project, I was doing it with black and white farmhouse colors. And for the center of the heart, I just used one of those from the previous video. I painted it with crimson red chalk paint and sanded the edges so that it exposed a bit of the wood. And I just Mod Podged my scrapbook paper on my love letters, and that's what I did for this project. I'm using my sanding block to sand off any of the excess of the paper, anything that kind of hangs over a bit. And then my little fingernail file is a handy little tool that I keep in my craft room to, get in those nooks and crannies of things that you can get into. Anyway, this trim right here I found at Hobby Lobby, and I think it just looks really nice on this just this love block. So I just cut it off, and this is actually 10, and it will cut, but it's found in the specialty ribbon section over at Hobby Lobby, usually on the aisle where the Robert Stanley ribbon is sold. Also, I like the deco mesh, and maybe like in the by the wedding section. That's usually where I find the specialty sections in the Hobby Lobbies that I frequently shop at. Farmhouse Dangling Hearts. Now, I found this over at the Dollar Tree, these 3 dangling hearts. The hearts are on like little jump rings. And the first thing I did was I removed all of the tinsel off of the hearts. It didn't come off very easy for me, so I just cut it in different places and unwound it on each of the hearts. These hearts have those little nubs on the end, so I don't need those. Just took my little wire cutters and cut off around the edges as well as those little nubs on the inside. And then I'm left with a smooth little surface like this where I can begin wrapping my ribbon and my little yarn. Okay, I am wrapping 2 of these hearts with this black and white checkered ribbon. Now, this ribbon I find at Hobby Lobby. You can get it anytime. I find it in the specialty ribbon aisle, and usually every Hobby Lobby that I've been to, it's always been by the wedding section on the same aisle across from the deco mesh. And so this ribbon, I love to use it. It is 1.5-inch ribbon and it's 18 feet on this roll. And I was able to wrap both of these hearts with quite a bit left over. So you could almost wrap 3 hearts with this ribbon. Okay, next I'm using this chunky yarn that I picked up at Walmart, and it's a lot of yarn on here, so I'm trying to figure out some projects to do with this. So I wrapped my 3rd heart with the chunky yarn, and you know, so that I could wrap it a little bit easier, I just cut off a section of the yarn, and then I'm just starting to wrap it. I'm not gluing anything, I'm just wrapping it very close together. The yarn was kind of going a little too sideways for me, so I left a little chunk so that I could go back and make it a little more even. And then here I'm showing you the little piece that I had off. I just totally guesstimated it, and I was super proud of myself that I only had that little bit that I overjudged. For the center of my hearts, I'm using these little wooden heart shapes from the Dollar Tree. I paint 2 of them with white chalk paint, and then the 3rd one I just painted with black paint. I also, I changed my mind a little bit as I was doing this project. I painted both of the jump rings with black paint, and I thought I was going to use those, you know, just for the dangling hearts, but then I'm like, no, I don't want to use those. I think I'm going to use some wooden beads. So I changed my mind a little bit, but that's okay because it's all part of crafting. In between the hearts, I was going to just put wooden beads, like 1 bead with the jute ribbon, but I couldn't get it spaced the way that I liked it. It was odd spaced, and so that's how it looks, and I'm just not very happy with it. So later in the video, I'll show you what I did. But next, I'm going to make a hanger for my heart, and so I'm using this wire, and I like to get this wire over in the automotive section at the Dollar Tree. I'm using I don't know, quite a bit. I'm going to say I put it out the length of my mat, and my mat is 23 inches long. And so what I'm doing, I'm just actually just putting a little knot in there so that I can, so my bead will stay, so it's not, won't slip out on the other side. And then I just start stringing or slipping beads on there, and I put 9 beads on this, and then I'm going to attach it to the top of my heart. Okay, the supplies I'm using is one heart wire form from the Dollar Tree, as well as some pink styrofoam hearts, 2 bunches of the pink roses, some excelsior, some black and white checkered ribbon, some burlap, some wire, some wooden beads, some berries, some cherry blossoms, and some styrofoam, as well as my scissors and hot glue. Okay, I'm starting with 2 rolls of this burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I just cut off the end, and then I'm just starting somewhere. I just start there at the bottom, and I am just gonna hot glue the burlap onto itself, and then I will wrap it around the heart kind of at an angle so that one roll fits halfway, and then I will start the other roll. I'll just continue to wrap around, and as it gets to that top part of the humps of the heart, I found that I needed to put a little dab of hot glue on the burlap so that it would secure it in place. Okay, to attach my flowers, I am using some styrofoam, and I just cut it to size, and then I hot glue it on to the burlap, the heart frame, the way that, you know, it fits on there. And then I just use my excelsior to cover the styrofoam. It gives that whimsy effect that I like. Then I use my pink roses that I got from the Dollar Tree. I cut those and make this sweet little heart hanger. And this is great for, like, you know, if you don't want a big wreath on your door, or if you have like a door or something that you just want a little something, a little accent, you know, for the season. These are perfect like this. I also made a black and white one with red roses that I'll share a picture here. I use the same concept, I just use the different colors. It just turned out so cute. Now, these white roses right here, I mean, actually white cherry blossom from the Dollar Tree. They're one of my favorite flowers that the Dollar Tree has. And then now I'm just adding some berries to this pink hanger. And then to actually make a hanger for the wreath, I just used some wire and some wood beads, and then just embellished it with some cute little black and white bows, and the ribbon for that came from Hobby Lobby. Here's another small wreath idea that I did. I just have some roses that I just pulled off of the stem and just hot gluing them on this styrofoam form from the Dollar Tree. For the ivory, or what I call the pearl part, I just have some felt that I just cut out a circle, and I folded over the felt onto some pearls and sticking it and hot gluing it all the way around as I'm sticking it into, you know, this form, just to make the pattern that I would like. For this Shabby Chic Valentine swag, I'm just using these burlaps from the Dollar Tree, and then also some sisal twine that I did get from the Dollar Tree, but this has been a while back, and that's what I'm going to tie everything together on this banner. So for the burlap, I cut it in half. Like the roll, I'd cut all of those in half so that I am left with piles of pink, red, and burlap. And then I'm just going to add some fabric. I have some different pink fabrics that I got that I cut strips out of, ripped those so that I would have the ragged edges. And I added some lace and some other trims in it. And just by tying everything together on the twine, it just really makes a cute banner for my home. The Elaine's Stiffen Quick is a spray. It's a stiffener that you spray on some fabrics to make it stiffer and give it a little more form.